everybody. Welcome to the very first From Boxes to Butterflies, where we're going to talk about everybody who knows me. I talk so much about the importance of moving beyond our boxes and being our authentic selves. And for me, moving beyond the box, that is definitely going into the land of the butterflies, which I love my butterflies. So this is going to be this is going to be a wild ride. There's going to be guests at times. There's going to be sometimes I might be just me. Depends on what the topic is. But everybody has gone through these moments, these transitions in their lives where they feel stuck in a box. They feel like they can't go. Something's holding them back, and this is that opportunity to be able to learn from other people on how they found their awareness, how they were able to step out of their own box so they could shine their authentic selves. And the fun thing about today, this is going to be a little bit different because I have the amazing Dr. CJ is my guest today, but there's another guest. And so I'm just going to dive into bringing up CJ, and we will start talking. It's like, how's it going?
You're doing great. This is your first live show. Woo woo. You got this. Yeah, I'm so excited. Oh, our guest looks so pretty today. Actually, technically, I'm the guest. Okay.
You're the guest.
Oh my God. I am so excited for you and your journey. Moving beyond boxes, leveling up books after books after books after books after. I mean, I could go on, but
well, we can go on because let's face it, something happened yesterday that made today even more crazy. But it fits. It fits the whole concept of moving beyond boxes to butterflies. Because every story in these books that we've written, I mean, you were in this book, as was our beautiful special guest who will come up shortly. And so it's this opportunity to say, look at what you can do with writing, with stories, just stories alone, putting those down on paper and being able to show how you move from where you're stuck, from that box, to be the butterfly, or since Sam is here, be that hominix, to just be yourself and fly. And it's wonderful seeing you here as well, Olivier and Janice. So now PDX is in the house because Janice is here too. So it's just great seeing everybody here. And so for you, CJ, how do you see, especially with the writing, because that's kind of where we're at, before we kind of make that next announcement and bring up our special guest, how do you see writing as a form of moving beyond the boxes?
writing is therapeutic for me. I find that I get to be vulnerable. I get to express myself, and no one is able to tell me, don't do that. Don't say that. Oh gosh, no, don't write that. Right? Oh my God, what are you thinking? And I've been told all my life, don't do this. You're not good enough. You're short. You're Asian. You're darker skin. You're and I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, yeah, this 5 foot nothing is gonna run you over. That's what I'm gonna do. I have a big mouth. My mouth is like for the world, but my height, not so much. 5 feet tall, right? But I have a big heart. My heart is for everyone. And I use writing to express myself in a different way where I can get giddy and I can read my own writing and I'm like, what was I thinking? You know what I mean? Like a reflection. But it's good start for if you do meditation journals or journaling itself, just to reflect on what you have come. Like, I have a lot of journals, and I also have issues collecting luxury agendas, and I make it into a notebook. And I was like, yeah, today was not a good day, but I'm still grateful I'm 6 feet above ground. So I use writing for that. But I think I write a lot, but I don't share it to the world because I'm embarrassed on some of the thoughts that I have. And I'm ashamed of some of the thoughts that I have. What's best about having a book is you can get vulnerable and people see it as your superpower. And I moved beyond boxes through my growth mindset and said, whatever. You don't
I,
like it, you take it anyway and read it. Yeah.
I can definitely align with that because the writing I've done, especially when I did the memoir that has not even hit the stands yet because that comes out in at the beginning of next year. That was a lot of that vulnerability. It's like when you start seeing what you're writing, sometimes things from the past pop up that you'd forgotten about. And you have to deal with it as you're doing that writing. So when it's that personal writing, that can really be that can become kind of difficult as you're navigating the emotional waters that you were not expecting to come up. And so when I look at the writing, that's the kind of writing that we have in these books. This is more of that personal writing. I've because with me, I've also got the stories. My personal writing, I do it as a story, but then when we start talking about the Armor of God books, when those start showing up, that's a fantasy, but it's a fantasy that has a very similar story to everything else I talk about. So you can put these topics, for me, the whole concept of moving beyond the box to be your authentic self, I'm finding it has always been in my writing in so many ways. So now, as you look at this, I'm thinking, let's just bring up the third leg of this trio.
Are you sure? I don't think she looks ready. I don't know. Should we?
She's always ready. She's just sitting there going, "Would you guys just knock it off?" I mean, it's time to bring up the third sister.
Hi, sister.
It's third sister. Yay! Hey, Nicole.
What's up? You're on mute.
Yeah, I knew that. And that's why I actually said, girl, I was born ready and nobody heard it. Because I obviously
Well,
wasn't.
now people heard it.
Oh my God, that's so a Nick moment. Oh, Jesus. So,
Well,
yeah, what was I saying? I was born ready? Yeah,
Mhm.
the North bipolar lady was born ready, not the South. First off, Susanna, I am so proud of you. I mean, who on earth publishes 2 books back to back like that within 48 hours? It's like unheard of. This
I,
is,
I have
right?
no idea how it happened. It's like, and there's Lonnie in the
Yes,
chat as well.
yes, exactly. I
And
mean,
Lonnie's in the book too, in the one that came out today.
from Never Give Up to Rattled Awake. I mean, you are just screaming from boxes to butterflies. Just, it reminds me of, when they open up that box at a wedding and all the doves fly out. I just see this mass of butterflies just flying out like a tornado. And it's not even from boxes to butterflies. It's like you just burst forth. It's wow. All my goosebumps are going up. Probably should
I
have put
know,
something a
me
little
too.
warmer on. You know that this group, we push each other up. And lady, you're standing on a mountain right now, and we adore you. And it's so good to see you coming into your own and what you really deserve. So I'm not gonna start crying. The show just started.
Yeah, please don't. I don't have my mascara that won't run. But seriously, Lonnie, did you see? I did this in 10 minutes. What? Rattled away. I'm gonna be going to lunch, okay, with this shirt on. You're like, yep, that's the book.
This girl, I swear. I think TJ has like triplets somewhere along the way because I don't know how she does what she does.
I have no idea. She's everywhere. And then she pops up in this book. And what does she do? She starts off with over the word count. In no
Right.
time at all, she writes 4,000 words.
Right.
And not only is it just 4,000 words, it's 4,000 words that's beautifully written as she's trying to figure out how to cut it down.
God
And I
forbid
didn't
she
have
was
any idea. Like, I don't know, like when we were in class, right? Lonnie's like giving out everyone, and then Lonnie doesn't give me anything. I was like, wow, so that's how we got into nothing. And I took that as a challenge, and I took that as she believed in me, and this is my opportunity to show up. I was literally in the hospital. I'm like, oh, I gotta put my headset on. I got a homework. And I love homework. I know I'm weird, but I love homework and I love the challenge. I said, I'll show you what I've got. And I didn't change it again. I'm like, man, I'm really confused. But I tried my best to show up because I know that this is a collaboration. It's not about CJ, it's not about Nicole, it's all about all of us. And we didn't want to let down each other. So we just put the time, grind it, and do it. And then, and then Lonnie's like, you need to do this. And I was like, oh, I love feedback. Bring it. And she's like, yeah, it sounded like a report. She didn't want to hurt my feelings. She didn't want to tell me it's not academic, CJ. Stop. Because the way I write is very academic. That's just what I know. I'm like a committee director for doctorate programs that I see dissertations all day long. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's about my story, right? And so I had to edit and change. This was a challenge. Was it a challenge for you ladies?
It was a huge challenge for me because I ended up, Lonnie's prompt for me was just to go with my motto and see where it takes. She didn't quite have anything for me either. That was the easy fallback, which was great because I'm sitting there going, well, number one, everything I've written, the previous two books, I always start with that. That's the first thing that's up at the top. I'm not what I used to be, yet I am who I've always been. And then I go from there. And with this one, it's like I was working through it, trudging through it. And after a couple hours, it's like, I'm just going to go the way I normally do. And once I pulled that out and just said, no more confinement, no more restraints, no more boxes to how I'm writing, then it flowed. I mean, I didn't get it done until 2 a.m, but it got done.
Oh God. I'm laughing because I know that we were all like that. And it's not that our chapters were not done. Nor do I want to say that we're perfectionists, but I know the two of you very well, and I know that we strive for perfection. And it was certainly a very early morning. I can't even say late night that we were all, just not even stressing so much, but wanting to give the absolute best of ourselves in this book, into our chapter. And yes, it was so much of a challenge. I have authored in 2 previous anthologies, the last one with you ladies. And all I have to say is, Steve, kids, that class blew my mind. Friday, 5 to 7, right after work, Saturday and Sunday, 4 hours each. I learned so much. I challenged myself as a writer beyond anything. And I'm a new writer. So it opened up a whole new perspective to me. And Lonnie, who edited, said something, at least I believe it was Lonnie, and this changed the whole thing for me. She said, start at the end. and I have never considered starting at the end. What is it that you want everyone to know? What is that final, if I had 5 minutes to tell you, or let's just say 2 sentences to tell you, what would I end with? And that just, to me, blew me away. If you were concerned about starting after you did that exercise, oh, there was no comments about how you're going to start. That's for sure. So, I mean, their next workshop comes up September 8th, 9th, and 10th. I would strongly urge people who haven't written before, people who are seasoned writers, to get in, because the mix of both is really something. I think it's humbling to the seasoned writers, and I think that it really inspires the writers that are new.
I love
So
that. Susanna, do you have the last two sentences of your chapter?
I'd have to find it. I don't have it in front of
You
me.
don't. How about you, sis Nicole? Like at least the gist of it, like the last two sentences of your chapter.
I have mine, and Susanna, if yours is shared with me, I probably have it as well.
I'll share mine while you guys look for yours. Last two sentence, because you mentioned like start from the end. Like Lonnie, that's totally Lonnie. Like start from the end, people. What are you gonna be about? And she literally told me, she's like, yeah, what happened to that abandoned child? Like I'm just reading a report here. What happened to that abandoned child? I'm like, yeah, you're right. I am missing that part, and I love that she read it through, took the time, and said, hey, you could make it better. Hello, right? I'm going to read mine, which is the last two sentences of my chapter. Sentences. I said, this journey of dedication and sacrifice has been one that has rattled me awake to the power of resilience and the potential we all have to overcome challenges. Can you relate to a moment in your life that transformed adversity into your own superpower? That's my last two sentences.
I like that. You leave it very thought provoking at the end there. Absolutely love it. Love it, love it. I'm trying to see if I can pull Susanna's up.
I've got it.
Oh, perfect.
Go for it, Susanna.
So to do this one, I have to. It's the last paragraph, but it's, you know me. I love my ellipses. So we must also recognize that we are never truly isolated. While it was all too easy to slip into solitude after each encounter, the past few years brought remarkable women into my life. They revealed a deep power of trust with me, through which came confirmation of how they had my back. Those incredible women of Sephora enlightened me, despite the shadows cast by fear and negativity. There were still moments, beautiful, radiant moments, where I basked in total acceptance. It was during those priceless moments when the boxes, the barriers trying to hold me back, dissolved, leaving only the bonds of shared experience and the artistry of their brushes.
Wow. You guys can put me first. Like, how do I follow those ending lines up? Like, really? How? You know, Susanna is the master storyteller. This woman's imagination is beyond boxes. That's right. I am, yeah. And for what's to come from Susanna, all I have to say is I started reading, I couldn't put it down, and I thought to myself, I know this woman? Like, do I actually know this person and know her well? So I have my ending, but I have to say it probably won't make as much sense without the title of the chapter, unless you know my story. And I do have to credit CJ for helping me work this one out with the title of my chapter. It was there, but let's just say not as as interesting. I will leave it up to you as to what you think the chapter name means. So the name of the chapter is The Bipolar Pen: Unleashing the Gift of a Writer. And my ending, my personal growth over these past 4 months is astounding. Things came to me with a clarity that and whoops, I'm just kidding. That's not the end. Oh, so a Nick moment. Sorry. Okay, so this is the end. I chose to write a chapter in Rattled Awake to share the moment and consequent events that forced my eyes open. Open to see and then acknowledge that every moment I've lived in my past and every step I take this day is another step closer to finding myself. Embracing my purpose, fueled by my deep understanding of why, and granting myself the permission to let my passion thrive through my bipolar journey is not just my path to success. It can be yours too.
Yeah, I changed your title because I wanted your title to be the leading people, like a shock moment, but not so shock if you know you, but also add curiosity. What do you mean bipolar? What do you mean pen? Like what? Right? Because there's a lot of stigma in those things.
Mhm.
But now you're creating, okay, this is my chapter, is like your adversity is your superpower. And that's you exemplify that. So when I thought about you, I'm like, you got to change your title. You got to change the title to this one right now. I'm not even taking no for an answer. If you don't do it, I'll edit it. Like seriously. And you're like, yeah, sure. And so thank you for sharing that. It's so you. Like, wow. You just went like this. Rocket. Just like Susanna.
Well-
it doesn't matter whose story was last in this three. None of us is over and above the other.
Yes. And that's why we have such a supportive sisterhood. And our fourth sister isn't with us because she's a good girl and working, which I was supposed to be doing today, mind you. And I did put in 4 hours from home. So trust me when I tell you this was a very last minute, Nick, get out of your pajamas and get on here. But that's what we do, right?
I'm going
We
to do
show
a
up for
really
each other.
quick. I'm going to do a quick shout out for Kimberly here because she's with me in Never Give Up. And in some ways, Kimberly's the one that started me into all of these different collaboration books because Never Give Up was the first one to show up. It's the first one I wrote in. It's the first one I didn't know anything about them. And then after that, it was my 2 cents on self-love. And then after that, it was Rattled Awake. So it's interesting to see how they get published, the different timelines. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that I just gave her that quick shout out.
That's why I put it in there because I know she's in that. I was thinking ahead. I know.
A group of us. It's like us. We've got this group. There's another group I was with where we were in an empowered CEO program at the beginning of the year. And I think there were 9 of us in the group, and 5 of us are in this Never Give Up book.
It's amazing.
So it's very similar. There's many similarities between the two groups in some of these aspects, and it's beautiful.
I think by the end of this year, we're going to be a publishing company. I'm just manifesting
Probably.
that, guys, putting it out there. Choo choo. Like
the rate at which we're going, probably. I mean, God alone knows we've authored so many books together. How many more will come?
I never even imagined that. So yeah, Paul is here.
Paul.
Oliver. Oh, wait. Didn't Oliver says he's giving chocolate from Belgium?
Yes. Well, lucky you. Please ship them to Susanna. And Susanna, you need to save 3 pieces and better make sure that when we do see you in that RV of Constance's, we have a piece too, okay? Because like
I love it. What is it? Butterflies collaborate. This is not a beehive with only one queen. That's right. We are all queens in our own.
Oh, I love that.
Well,
Oliver, that is so
publish,
beautiful.
If we want
That
that
really is so beautiful.
Too, we got some solo books we can start with. I can think of at least 3.
I love it.
Yeah, I love the name that you chose for your show as well. I mean, not only does it scream you, but it's so identifiable in general for people. I think that a lot of people do feel confined to their boxes. And
Mhm.
yes, people put them in there, but they have, what it takes to get out of it. And even when they turn off, because you know me, I've completely turned it off like squish. I totally block out all the negativity, um, especially about my bipolarness. Don't step to me. It's either you want to understand, and if you don't, that's okay, because I have a lot of people in my life that want to. So, what you speak about, Susanna, is very, very empowering, right? And the fact that you write about it to reach so many more beyond your platform of speaking, which is now this as well, but has been all other forms of social media.
Yeah.
I feel that writing is liberating.
It is.
Being published, being published is empowering. I
Okay,
think every single person needs to have that experience at least once in their lifetime.
sister's got an interesting look on her face.
I just thought of a
I know.
project.
I'm like,
I just thought of a project. Are you ready?
what am I saying that's like so screwy, CJ? Like,
No, no, no. Listen, we're going to create a movement of moving beyond boxes. Okay, it's not a workshop, it's not a webinar. We're leveling up the world through this movement of beyond boxes. And I have a project that could actually be like almost 50 inspirational, but stories of people on how they move beyond boxes. We need to create it. We need to talk about it. We're going to have to create a ripple effect. And guess who is the leader? Pointing at you, butterfly lady. Yeah, I will be your behind the scene person. Yes, I volunteer myself because it's for the community, right? So you don't have to worry about the technical part and all the whatever marketing. And we have a meme graphics lady over here that I'm voluntold again. Be careful with our tribe, okay? Because if you don't have homework to do and you're bored, don't come to me. I'll give you homework. That's for sure.
yes, she will. She will rope you in by your toes to every project of hers. But you know what? You're going to come out so much bigger and so much better on the other end. And the lives that you touch because of it, it's priceless. What you get in return for your investment of time and your heart, there's no way to explain it. I mean, Susanna, you were featured in the 50 Inspirational. What did that mean to you? I mean, what did you think it meant in the beginning? And after you submitted your video and then consequently saw, your premiere, how did you feel? I'm curious.
Yeah.
You know how long it took me to do that?
Yes. Sorry, mute again.
I mean, I think I was one of the last. It was the last minute. Suddenly, CJ pops up on the screen and on a live, talking about it, and this is like the deadline's here, and there's only a few more openings, and we need to get this filled up. And it's like, okay, slap some answers together in the questionnaire, because those questionnaires are always my hang up. I try to be too honest with the questionnaires. I'm not always great at stretching things if I'm not sure what to put. That's why I hate resumes and questionnaires. But it was the way I did it. I did that video a couple of different times, and when I did it, I decided that you said 3 to 5 minutes, CJ. So 5 minutes is like, if I went over it, it was no good. Even if I was off by a second, it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Sis says you can get a few seconds. Like, no, it's got to be. So I did one, it stopped at 501. And I just look at it and go, I'm not going to try and shave something off. It's like, I'll do it one more time. But before that particular video that you guys saw, I did a prayer first. It's like, just let it be whatever the words are that are supposed to be. And then once it's done, I don't think I rewatched it. I just sent it and called it good.
And now that you saw yourself premiered in YouTube, how did you feel about that?
I mean, you know, the part of me that I don't talk about my story a whole lot because that's part of the issue of boxes. And knowing that to tell that in that video, I had to do that. But again, there are certain words that stick us in boxes, whether it's by others or by ourselves. And that's something that I had to deal with that video. I mean, sure, Sephora did a video with me. It took the interviewer at least a half an hour to get me to say the one word that she wanted me to say. And I only said it because I knew she was never going to stop trying to get to it. So I think I said it twice in the hour and a half that we had that interview. I mean, it's like hour and a half down to 4 minutes. And mine was one of the longest Sephora videos I'd seen. Because when I talk about my story, I want to take it from that approach of it doesn't matter what the word is. You can change that one word, which is why I use the blank all the time. You can change that one word to be a mental health issue. It can be neurodiverse. It can be having a non-regional accent. All these things that we hide behind, we build a wall up so nobody will see these parts of us. We hide it because we're afraid of what others might say, what they might do, even if we know that there's a chance that everything will be fine. And I've been blessed. The only people I've really had any issues with are family. So I'm good at that.
No, you're creating new family here. Now, I do want to ask you with this statement from Kimberly, right? Because you know her, you've worked with her on your anthology of Never Give Up. She said, I don't know why I was so hesitant to do my video, but I promise if you do it again, I won't hesitate. So I'm going to answer this in my area. When there's an opportunity that knocks, sometimes you're hesitant because you don't know the intentions behind why people do it, right? And you're like, because I've been accused of like, oh, you're gonna create the video because you're gonna create a snippet and then you're gonna create money. I'm like, do you know me? Do you know me? Do you see my bank account? Is it rolling with dough? Like, do I give off that? Like, I have what? No, I'm really. And it's okay. I'm not offended if you don't know me. That means it's my chance and my opportunity to get to know you so you know me, right? I see that as an opportunity, not a problem. But sometimes opportunity only knock once. And so when you see an opportunity, jump on, right? But if you have hesitation, ask the person, what is this all about? Take that time to ask the person what it's all about and then go from there. But I also understand the hesitation because I would be hesitating too. And I'm like, I don't understand your project, CJ. Just ask me, right? Just ask me. And now you guys know what my project is all about. We're going to keep, I don't know if we're going to keep. But anyway, how would you answer that, Susanna?
See, I come from a different direction on that one. And I get it because I remember you talked about that in the beginning. For me, it's the vulnerability piece because you're asking inspirational. It's telling our story, and there's multiple things. One of the issues that I had, why I dragged it out so long, was comparison. I'm listening to other people's stories and thinking, I survived mine. I didn't go through anything like them. Why would my story be on the same stage as somebody else? Why would I think? Because the thing is, it's our story. We lived it. And it's so much easier to look at somebody who says, this is what they went through. And you sit there and go, shit, I could never survive going through that. I survived what I did. But the thing is, our stories are just as unique as we are.
Mm-hmm.
So if I look at other people that, if I'm stuck in that box, they put me with everybody else that's in that box. If you took somebody who, that what they went through and what you went through, and you swapped two people, they survived what they went through. They might not survive what I went through. I survived
So
what I
well
went through. They may not survive. I am not likely to survive when I think about what I know they've gone through. So it's under the vulnerability piece of putting that part of what we did, who we are out there, is so, it's so personal, and you don't know how people are going to react. It's the mights, it's the coulds, until you see what happens. And for me, I need a lot of positives to be able to just start pushing post, start pushing send. And it's to stop comparing. I'm the first one that will say, you can't compare stories, because what each of the three of us have gone through is totally unique.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of us has gone through a story that you can have your own book about what you've been through, because somebody out there needs to read it.
Own your story.
Yeah.
That is what 50 Inspirational is about. Own your story. And what you said there was so deep. You know, we all face adversity, but that does not mean that you could face mine and come out on the other end the way I have, and vice versa. And that's why we have to own our stories. That is why it is so important. If we cannot own our own stories, if we cannot own ourselves and be strong for ourselves and love ourselves and be inspired by ourselves, how are we going to do that for anyone else?
Sometimes we're good at giving advice, but we're not good at taking our own advice.
Oh, no, duh.
That's what it
That's me.
I'm the queen of that.
Yeah. And Susanna, I just want to commend you. You moved beyond that box of fear and vulnerability. You took your vulnerability as your superpower. I just want you to know, when Nick and I was a cheater, okay? Like, I was watching the video ahead because she has no access. I was like, ooh, what's this story? Ooh, what's this story? And Nick's like, just play. And so I stopped, because I stopped like watching ahead. I'm like, Nick, I haven't seen his story. She's like, you're lying. I'm like, no, I'm literally not. I don't know what they're saying at this point. I stopped halfway through because I wanted to enjoy the moment with Nick when we first like see the story and stuff like that. I was so excited. When I started the project, I had a vision and I had an outcome in my head. Right. It came from because I live stream one at a time. I'm like, oh, imagine if I do 50 at a time. How amazing would that be? And I didn't want to do 100 because that's too much work. And let me tell you, it is a lot of work on my end. But I love seeing and watching you guys grow and elevate yourself. And right here, what Kimberly says, I think it might be a bit of fear of vulnerability and fear of not appearing perfect. Comparison is a killer of so much. I got into depression because I compared myself to my family and to some of my friends. And you're like, one person told me, oh yeah, you're cute, but you're too short. What am I going to do with that? I can't stretch myself. I wear 6-inch heels just to be close to my husband. My husband's 6'1" and I'm 5 feet tall. But anyway,
you do that.
I know, but I said, but height doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. He's Caucasian. I'm Asian. Asians in the Caucasian. And it's a joke. But anyway, a lot of people put me in boxes. A lot of people tell me I can't do this. You're not allowed to do that. You don't say this. You're too short. You're too ugly. You're too dark. Your nose is this. I have a hang up with my face too. Like I wanted to change it like for a long time. I was like, gosh, I'm so ugly. Like I can't believe this nose and this big cheekbones and this whatever this thing jawline, and I have issues with that, right? I know. And you know what I said? I don't care anymore. It doesn't matter because what matters is here and what I give, right? And if I elevate you, my heart is big. So, Kimberly, you
Exactly.
compare yourself to nobody because you, my dear sister, is unique to your own, right? And you better jump in if Nick and I do it again. If you have to watch the Friday season, but that's for sure.
I'm sorry, I'm playing the violins. Listen, you're speaking to the girl that has the whole orchestra, okay? Because I've been there, done that. Oh, I hate these freckles. Oh my God, why wasn't I have double D's? Why didn't then? Ain't nobody got time for that. Especially the older you get, you realize how precious time is, you know. And if that's one thing that I can impart on younger people, especially younger people struggling with a mental illness, that don't wait. You do not know your life is going to pass you by. And one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be 47 like me. And you're going to be like, oh crap, what have I been doing since I was 27? And just totally do not let that happen.
Mm-mm.
You know, we're all living proof up here that at some point in time we decided that, yeah, we want more out of life. And that's why we're here. So, Susanna, I have to ask you, was doing this live stream for you one of those, from boxes to butterfly moments? Like, what made you decide to take this step now and go into live streaming? Because this is a big jump. Yeah, you keep hiding over there, okay? Because you think that I don't know that you're pestering me as well. Nick. Hmm.
Now she's taking advantage of the size. See, unlike you two, I was actually able to do something about changing a few of the things that I didn't like. But
Point taken. That is true. And you did so well with it too, with your face that's only 3 years old.
Yeah, I got blessed on a few things, but with this, it's well, okay. Let's just say somebody planted the seed a while back, and you can't roll your eyes and hide that much. It's just like what you already just planted today. It's like only some things grow faster than expected, and in this case, part of it is the speaker in me. If you knew me 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, and told me, even just said I'd be speaking a lot, not even the fact that like I'd be speaking to you guys like this, at that point I would have been like, F no. But just speaking, I couldn't do it. It wasn't something I could do. And really, everything changed and the doors opened and the seeds hit fertilized soil starting 3 years ago when I walked into Sephora that one day. That's when everything changed. And that story, the story just on that day in Sephora, that is the first chapter of the next book, of the memoir that comes out at the beginning of the year. Faith of the Butterfly. That's what it's called. So you kind of wonder why there's butterflies all over the place.
Oh my gosh, I have a pink butterfly head pin and I thought about you when I got that. Actually, I love butterflies and I love the thought of like, being a larvae in the cocoon and then boom, you just kind of grow. And I really love that you show up, and I know I push you guys, but I know what your capabilities are. I know what your capabilities are more than you know your capabilities. Like you kind of just went in it and you trust me. So I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for trusting me and pushing you in the right direction, because you know that I have your back. I truly do. And I just want you to really grow happy where you need to be, right? We already go through so much in our life. And I think the rest of our life, whatever that is, little, long, we don't know when our expiration's going to be. I want to be able to say, I got a hand of that because of her smile and her, success. I got a hand on pushing that, even just a little dot. It gives me so much pleasure to see you grow. And I know that you don't like to be in video. You don't like to be this. I'm like, yes, you can do it. Let's do it. And you just believe in me that you can. And here you are. You're doing an amazing things in your life, behind the scene, in front of the scene, having your own show. Ah, so beautiful. How would you want to end this show?
Wait,
Yes?
I have to say, this is probably why we met. And I know you love me enough to forgive me for this when the show's over. That's a monarch butterfly, the one that I believe to be the original butterfly, especially growing up in the Caribbean. And yes, I'm going to put my foot on live. Can you see?
No, back this way. Oh. Wow. At least she can still stretch.
Oh, she,
That's not the broken leg, so I'm good. I need a tan, though. I'm really pale. But look at that. I have two butterflies on me. And this was more than 10 years ago.
Wow.
So,
It was
lady,
meant to be.
I was meant to meet you. Just saying.
Oh,
the
hold on one second.
next up
Before
is
I
the
move on, I want to just say that Mike was here to support you. He literally took a picture and sent it to the hounds to prove. I don't see his message here. So, bro, I'm sorry. It's Susanna knows we can't see you, but I know we see you. Thank you for taking pictures. We love you, Mike. Hands of business it is. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead and end it. I'm going to shut up now.
no. It's like the next thing I need is that pink butterfly phoenix to really burst out of, because there's so much I could do, there's so much I could say. And quite frankly, with the two of you especially, well, we could freaking go on forever. When we start talking, it is
Us?
always hard to stop.
No, I need to have a cigarette like in 10 minutes. I mean, I'm dying over here.
So in this case, because I am still technically the host, but the three of us, it's like that's what I love about our sisterhood, is there really isn't any one who takes over, and we always let the ones speak who need to speak. So even though a lot of people look at me and goes like, you just don't speak too much. Well, I have the graphic for that. I've posted it many times and I will keep posting it. I speak when I have to. At this point, as we're getting ready to close this up, what I would love to get from both of you are your thoughts both on the books, because we really didn't talk about Rattled Awake, except not by title. So it's like, yes, we need to make sure Rattled Awake, it's out there. It's going to be the third book on the list here, whenever it's a paperback. But then just how you see Boxes to Butterflies.
Are you taking this one first, sis? Because right now I see your eyes dodging every which way. So,
Yeah, well, like I mentioned before with Rattle Awake, is that it's not just a book. I can see the series now. I'm actually, Susanna, sis, thank you so much for pushing me. I'm starting my book about my life, and I've been crying a lot. So if you see puffiness, it's just because I had to cry. I'm an emotional person. Leave me alone. But anyway, I'm writing my own book because I have a lot of questions, people. How do you do what you do? And I could never do that. Don't compare yourself to me, because you are special the way you are made. I have a lot of trauma in my life that got me where I'm at. And I had to almost multiply myself and my way of doing things, and that's the reason why I'm very structured, because I can do so many things in 1 hour, literally. While we're even talking, I'm doing presentation for later on's presentation at 4, and my class at 5, and my class at 7. I can do multiple things because my brain is that way. When you ask me the question of how I move beyond boxes and writing this Rattled Awake book, is that you have to start somewhere. Don't worry about where it's going. Don't question yourself if you're good enough. Don't question yourself if you're a writer. If you can speak, you can write. Do it.
So I guess it is for the host to interview the guest. I really didn't think the way our conversation was going that I was going to get put on the spot like this. But anyway, do I get to share with the audience some of the cool things that I know about you? Like, first of all, just so you know, Susanna sends me these pictures of the most phenomenal banana bread she has baked. And I am so upset because I'm pretty sure I can smell it, but I can't taste it. Just saying. And she makes a mean homemade pizza. And no, I haven't tasted it yet, but I very well will. And I'm sorry, Susanna, if I shared TMI. But I really want people to see you the way I see you because that's the beauty of it. I think sometimes, especially in this round of the week for me, moving beyond boxes, and you often don't see yourself the way others see you. And yes, as much as we talk about don't allow people's negativity to affect you, we are still also human. And there is also a certain amount of validation that goes into receiving support from your community and from the people that you're closest to in your life. So for me, I think that 2.5 years ago is when I started recognizing that I had some control over managing my bipolarness, so it didn't affect me to the degree that it was in my life. But it was not until the end of December when that horrible accident happened that really, literally, physically rattled me because my teeth were jarring. Um, did I get forced into a situation where I could have spiraled downhill really bad, or I could have used it um, to my benefit? And I did that. And within that time, I was definitely able to embrace my bipolarness. And that's why I speak out about that so much now. So that was, for me, my coming out of the box, you know, in butterflies. And I think that on the audio show on Sunday, we were talking about the ultimate butterfly effect with Kimberly Wells and the power that one butterfly flapping its wings, maybe right here in my kitchen, could create a tsunami elsewhere.
Look at her. She just left us. Wait, hold on. Watch this. This is Nick's beautiful graphics. Check that out.
Oh, Susanna.
Beautiful. Okay, I come back now. Sorry.
Okay, you're back. I was like, oh no, don't cry.
No. Actually, they decided to start cutting wood out there, so it's like, I didn't want the noise coming in. But when you talk about this, both of you hit on things that to me are important on that boxes to butterflies, because to me it's the butterfly effect. But my butterfly effect focus is much different than what happened over the weekend, because I look at it as it was described in A Sound of Thunder by Ray Bradbury, where to go back in time and change something, no matter how small it is. In the story, it's to step on a butterfly millions of years ago. When you get back to the present after you've made that change, things might seem like they're okay, but they won't be the same. And something could be really significantly different, and you don't like the person you've become. You don't like what you've done. So everything we went through to get to this point is who we are. And to change anything from the past is to change who you are. That's the butterfly effect. And then when it comes to making a step, taking that first step, it doesn't matter when you're ready to start moving out of the box. It doesn't matter how big the step is. Once you're aware and you're ready to go, then you take that first step. It can be a very small, it could be a baby step. It doesn't matter. What matters is it's the first step. And after you do the first step, you do the second step. They don't have to be big. They don't have to be small. They have to be your size.
I love that. They have to be your size. I love it. One butterfly can be released from the box at a time, until it becomes 2 and 3. And then before you know it, all 4 flaps are open and they're all flying out. But that was beautiful. I mean, that's such a supportive way to say it to people. It's not all or nothing. I mean, and I'm the all or nothing girl, I'll tell you right now. But can I not respect it the other way? Of course. And that's what makes us so strong together. That the 3 of us come from such different walks of life, and our stories are also very different, actually. And what we do, where our passions lay, are also very different. But it's this converging almost. And thank you, Susanna, for the opportunity to
Be here and be with you in your first live show. We love you so, so much, more than words can actually do that. And I mean it, because I don't have to pay my therapist. I just call Susanna. Like, hello, pick up your phone. I'm dying. She's like, what now? Did you send
God.
the mail? And literally, I called her and I started cursing, and I can hear it in her voice, a panic. Like, she's thinking, what did I do to her? Why is she cursing at me? I could hear it in her voice. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm sorry. It's not you. It's Nick. Nick is doing this to me right now. And then, because I can't call her, she's at work. And she's like, I know, right? And I heard a sigh of relief that I wasn't cursing at her. I was cursing at the frustration. Oh my gosh. I love our friendship. But Susanna, when is your next show? And how are you going to do this show moving forward before we end?
The next show will be next Wednesday. And this time I'm going to keep it at about a half an hour more of just talking about the concepts of boxes to butterflies. And then I will look at initially kind of an every other week, because of some stuff that's happening. I got these summits that are happening at the end of September, the beginning of October. And so I just want to make sure I'm not doing anything on those weeks right now, because I'm getting started. But I'll be looking at who to bring in and talk with people who have they have moved from whatever boxes held them back to being their own butterflies and moving out.
Oliver could be one of your person. He's in. Wait, Oliver, are you in Belgium? I think he is. And he's also going to be on the Global Summit, because he's going to teach us the French culture and how amazing it is, right? And hopefully he'll be, by the end of it, I want to speak French, Oliver. Comment allez-vous, mademoiselle?
You want to learn all of that anyway. In that short space of time, SCJ we're talking about here. Oh God, my head.
You just gotta go with the flow.
I don't know about that. You want over there?
We have another show to go. We have literally 60 seconds. So, Susanna, what is your last sentence before I end the broadcast?
I took 6 years of French, and I couldn't remember anything until I started to take Chinese. How's that the way to end this one? With the 3 of us, is like anything goes.
Yeah, I love you guys. We love you guys. Mwah. Thank you so much for all your support. Mike, we didn't see it, but we see you on Hounds. Hounds of Business, guys. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Mwah. Dude, we